Great. So we've got this vocal. It sounds great, but it sounds very dry.
Ooh, I bet you're wondering how I knew.
So we're going to add a bit of reverb to make it sound less studio-y and more live. There's different ways of adding effects. With all of these effects, if I zoom in, we've been adding it as insert effects on the channel. There's the gate, the EQ, the compressor, and another EQ. What happens in Logic is that it goes through each one of these a bit like a pedal board chain on a guitarist's pedal board. So it goes in the first one, through that, out into the second one, through that, out into the third, and so on. So it goes through them in a top to bottom direction. You usually use EQs, compressors, distortions, those kind of things are usually used as insert effects. When we're adding reverbs and maybe delays and things, because we might want to send multiple instruments to them, so I'm going to want to send vocals, but I might want to send a little bit of the guitars or maybe the horns to the same reverb effect. What we're going to do is use it on a send. So just below the inserts, there's this little send thing with a grayed out control there. So if I click on that and choose bus and the first available bus, doesn't really matter which one of these you use, it's just that it's worth going through in a methodical order starting at the beginning. So let's use bus 1. And then the little dial becomes active, and if I click on it and push forwards with the mouse, it turns it up. Now what's happened is where I've clicked on it, just next to the lead vocal here, notice this new channel strip has opened up. Usually when we're in on a channel strip, if I perhaps just choose tambourine or conga, the one on the left is the actual channel, so that's the tambourine and conga, and the one on the right is our stereo out, usually. But if you're sending it to an auxiliary, as soon as you click on the auxiliary, that will change and it will show you that auxiliary. It's just a quick way to get to it. Notice when I turn this little dial up, if we have a look at the level there.
About your plans to make me blue with some other guy you knew before. Between the two of us, guys, you know I love you more.
We see more of that vocal signal going to this auxiliary track. I've got it soloed, the yellow button there, so I'm only hearing the vocal. I'm going to also solo that one as well, just so I can hear it. Now, what we'll probably find is that
it took me by surprise.
It actually just gets louder when we turn this up, because it's kind of doubling the amount of vocal there is. What's that got to do with adding reverb? Well, where I've sent this, what we can now do is, on that aux track, add a reverb. So in the audio effects box there, if we click on that and go to reverbs, a bunch of different ones, perhaps we'll get Space Designer. Let's choose a mono, do a stereo Space Designer. And I'm going to go and find in the presets up the top there a medium plate reverb. Let's try the soft plate to begin with. A plate reverb is a type of reverb. it's an old vintage effect, and it actually is literally a plate. It's a big plate of metal that is kind of suspended in a big wooden box, and it has these kind of resonators that shake the metal, and it sounds like reverb. It was an artificial way of generating reverb in the old days. So let's have a listen. Now when we turn up this send to this aux1 bus.
Say, when I found out yesterday, don't you know that I heard through the grapevine?
It becomes a reverb amount. So we're choosing how much of this vocal we're sending to the reverb. What's useful while you're working is actually rename that, because Logic calls it aux1, but let's call it verb, just so we know it's our reverb channel. Give that a go on your project. If you haven't yet opened it up, maybe create a new Logic project and I can help you drag in the stems, and perhaps choose the vocal and send it to a new bus. Once you've sent it to a bus, it'll actually be labelled so you know that that one is the verb. Add your reverb to the bus and maybe relabel your bus as well, verb. If in doubt, if this is just showing the stereo out, then press X on your QWERTY keyboard and you'll see the usually auxiliary effects are placed at the end on the right hand side just next to stereo out, and they're often coloured this sort of gold colour.